Dr. S.K. Barik and Dr. Prabodh Trivedi. I request the director to please welcome the audience.
Distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, and students. I'm delighted to welcome you all for this special day of our institute, CSIR, Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow, which is serving the nation over the 7 decades in the area of drug discovery and development. Before proceeding further, I express my most sincere gratitude to Dr. Harshavardhan, Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Science and Technology and Art Sciences, Government of India, and also Vice President of our CSIR. For acceding our request to grace this occasion as our chief guest, sir. Under his leadership and guidance, the fundamental research and its application have received a tremendous boost even in this pandemic situation. As a health minister, his guidance, his planning has helped us to face this unprecedented pandemic situation in the most efficient way, even better than so many developed countries. And the country will be always under debt to him and Narendra Modi ji for this excellent guidance. We are privileged to have Harshavardhan ji at CSIR-CDRI on this special occasion. Sir, on behalf of CDRI family, as well as on my own behalf, I most cordially welcome you to the 70th annual day of our institute. Thank you, sir. I express my gratitude to Professor Shekhar Mandeji, Director General, CSIR, and Secretary DSIR for acceding to our request and grace this occasion as guest of honor. Thank you, Dr. Mande. I'm very thankful to Dr. Shekhar Mande for his constant forthcoming suggestions and guidance in this challenging situation to run the research program, to manage the situation, and most importantly, to contribute in this crisis of the nation through CSIR and especially through the CSIR-CDRI. I, on behalf of CDRI family, as well as on my own behalf, most cordially welcome Dr. Mande to the 70th annual day of our institute. Thank you. I express my gratitude to Professor Sandeep Bharma, Secretary, Science and Engineering Research Board, for so generously accepting our request to grace this occasion as guest of honor. Thank you. Just now, I would like to also welcome the my colleagues from the sister laboratories of CSIR in this city, Dr. S.K. Barik from CSIR NBRI and also in charge Director CSIR IITR, and also Dr. Prabodh Kumar Trivedi Director, CSIR CMAP, and thank you for accepting our welcome. We are fortunate that today among us we have Professor Nityanand, who joined CDRI in 1951, 2 days after the inauguration or after the first day of our CSIR Foundation. And we are delighted, sir, that you have accepted our invitation and you could be with us in this great day and bless us. We are also fortunate to have Dr. Kamboj, who was also the former director of this institute and has given us guidance and still giving his every guidance to take this institute forward. On behalf of the CDRI family and on my personal behalf, I welcome all of you, my students, faculties, and staff for these great occasions. Our institute was conceptualized well before the independence of our country and was formally dedicated to the nation by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru on 17th February 1951. The founding mission of our institute was to revamp the pharmaceutical sector of India, which was almost non-existent in that time, that is, during the independence. Over the last 7 decades, the institute has grown into an epicenter for new drug discovery and development in India. And you all will be happy to know that post-independent, India has discovered 21 new drugs, and 13 of them has come from CSIR-CDRI. Among these alpha-beta RT ether, which is globally available now for the malaria treatment. Among these, the non-steroidal oral contraceptive, Sencroman, the discoverer of that and the leader of that, Professor Nityanand, is with us. And this was the proud contribution from CDRI. Besides, more than 80 indigenous process technologies for the drugs and pharmaceuticals, highest quality of human resource, and constantly supplying the pharma industries have paved the way for the transformation of the Indian pharmaceutical sectors. For the last several years, India is popularly known as pharmacy of the world, and CSIR-CDRI has contributed directly and indirectly through the human resource, through process, through other means, this possibility and this continuation of the contribution of making India as a pharmacy of the world. And I'm sure under the leadership of Harshavardhanji, under the leadership of Shekhar Mandeji, to make India completely Atmanirbhar in this section, CSIR-CDRI will be working tirelessly and take our country to the new height. I'm very happy to just inform you a few important achievements of our institute in the past 1 year. The year 2020, dominated by the COVID-19 pandemic, and was a challenging year for the life and the science globally. During the first half of 2020, the work life of the researcher was severely affected. Despite the odds, I find that 2020 is one of the most productive years of our institute, albeit with a slight change in the pace and the emphasis of the research activities of the institute. Soon after the declaration of COVID-19 pandemic by WHO, CSIR-CDRI, with ample experience of new drug discovery, development, process chemistry, and molecular and structural biology, advantageously positioned herself to contribute to the nation's fight against COVID-19 with great vigor. Within 1 month of nationwide lockdown, our institute scientists developed a process technology for umifenovir. an antiviral drug with a potential to be COVID-19 therapeutic. Subsequently, the technology was transferred to an industry. IND filed, DCGI permission obtained, and the phase 3 clinical trial were initiated in a record time. Clinical trials for the umifenavir is currently at the advanced stage, and we are anticipating to conclude this trial very soon, hopefully by a month time. Efforts were also initiated for the development of technology for more drugs with potential to be COVID-19 therapeutics. We have successfully developed lab scale process technologies for a couple of drugs, and which is under process now. Considering the national emergency and the demand of the nation, CDRI also opened the patient testing facility, and I'm glad to inform you that till date, 130,000 patients, the human sample we have tested from Sitapur and Lakhimpur districts. In collaboration with King George Medical University, SGPGI Lucknow, we initiated the patient virus sample sequencing, and I'm delighted to inform you that tomorrow we'll be releasing the press release about the sequencing of 200 virus sequence from 200 patients across Uttar Pradesh, and that is going to give us a fantastic information regarding the virus mutations in our state here. This is going to be very helpful for even the drug designing. Another team of researchers in CSIR-CDRI collaborated with an industry partner for the development of the fluorescent dye and the quencher of indigenous RT-PCR kit has also been discovered. Today, we are formally transferring the technology to our collaborator, the Biotech Desk Private Limited, Hyderabad, soon after I finish. We anticipated that the product will reach the market very soon, and this will be the first indigenous technology, complete indigenous technology from CSIR for the virus detection. Not only that, this will be having a broad perspective, not only the COVID virus, but also for other viruses. I congratulate and I thank my colleagues and the industry partners. I'm happy to report you the year of 2020, 19 and part of 2020 has given us several things to be proud of. In a span of 12 months period, the Institute has filed 3 INDs and received permission for clinical trial from Drug Control General of India. This accomplishment is unique for any organization in India involved in drug discovery and development. In January 2020, we received DCGI permission for phase 1 clinical trial of an antithrombotic molecule. And we are in the advanced stage of starting the clinical trial. In June 2020, DCGI permission was received for the phase 3 clinical trial of umifenavir for COVID-19 patients. And again, on 8th January 2021, our institute received DCGI permission for phase 1 clinical trial of a molecule which is an orally available fracture healing, single molecule fracture healing agent discovered and developed by the institute scientists. In terms of measurable performance, there are several out there. The time is very short, and I would not be able to give you the entire description of it, but in brief, the institute scientist has been able to attract several funding, and from the outside CSR organizations, several PhDs has been awarded. Fantastic research paper also has been published in the past 1 year. And my colleagues has received the honors and award at the national level and international level, which I'm not going to describe here. For the current financial year, 2021, we have generated several external funding, as I said, and some of the funding was very critical for the developments, what you heard from me. Before I conclude, I have an important announcement to make. I am going to announce the names of the recipients of the prestigious CSIR-CDRI Award 2020 for Excellence in Drug Research. This award is given yearly in chemical sciences and the biological sciences. The prestigious CSIR-CDRI 2021 for Excellence in Award for the 2021 Excellence in Drug Research in Chemical Science category has been awarded to Dr. Vishal Rai, Associate Professor, ISAR Bhopal. In Life Science category, Dr. Siddesh Kamath, Associate Professor, ISAR Pune, and Dr. Chandrima Das, Associate Professor, Shah Institute of Nuclear Physics, Kolkata. The heartiest congratulations to the awardees. I also take this opportunity to extend my thanks to the jury of the CSIR-CDRI Award 2021 for selecting the most deserving candidates for the CDRI Award. CSIR-CDRI instituted Faculty Colloquium series in 1920 to augment the scientific and academic vigor in the institute. In this series, popular science talk will be delivered by CDRI faculty who have made outstanding contribution to the science and technology. I'm delighted to inform you that this year the committee has chosen the faculty colloquium as a candidate for the faculty colloquium is Professor Saman Habib for the year 2021. Hearty congratulations to Professor Habib for achieving these distinctions. I have another special announcement to make about the annual incentive award for the year. You all already know the names of the award winners. Here I'm delighted to announce that they will be getting the special grant, research grant for these awards, and as we unfold our program, you will get to know. I congratulate all the awardees, and the award certificate will be issued shortly. At the end, I thank you all for patient hearing me, and I once again welcome our valued guest, and especially Dr. Harshavardhanji, and invite him in our program. Thank you, sir, for accepting this.
Thank you, Dr. Kundu. Now I request our guest of honor, the first guest of honor, Dr. Shekhar Mande, to please address the audience.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Earth Sciences, Health and Family Welfare, and CSI Society Vice President, Dr. Harshavardhanji, my senior colleague, Professor Sandeep Goma, Director of CDRI Lucknow, Tapas Kundu, all the esteemed guests, and especially two former directors, Dr. Nityanand and Dr. Kamboj. It's a great pleasure for me to be able to be present with all of you on the 70th annual day celebration of CSIR-CDRI. The day is very special, as Dr. Harshavardhanji's presence also indicates that we hold all of us CSIR-CDRI in the highest esteem. Not only has CDRI contributed in number of drugs that have been generated in the country, but also CSIR-CDRI has enormously contributed in generating the next generation manpower or human resources who understand about all aspects of pharmaceutical sciences in the country. It's needless to mention that great contributions were made by the early founders of CSIR-CDRI, which includes Dr. Nityanand, and we are very grateful for his presence in the audience in our celebrations today. On behalf of CSIR family, I would like to extend hearty felicitations to all the family members of CSIR-CDRI and wish you many more glorious years in drug discovery research in the coming years. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mande, for such an encouraging note. Our second guest of honor is Professor Sandeep Verma. And sir, I would like you to address the audience.
Sandeep, you're on mute.
Yeah, the
Sandeep, you have to unmute yourself.
NIC team, please unmute Professor Sandeep Verma.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please, go ahead.
Honorable Union Minister for Science and Technology, Health and Family Welfare, and Earth Sciences, Dr. Harshvardhanji, Dr. Shekhar Mande, Director General CSIR, Professor Tapas Kundu, Director CSIR-CDRI, fellow scientists of CDRI, students, ladies and gentlemen. I am truly privileged to be a part of 70th Foundation Day celebrations of CDRI, which is a unique institution dedicated to the drug discovery process and relevant technology development for last 7 decades. My felicitations to all who are present, the present and past CDRI fraternity on this momentous occasion, and my special wishes and respect to Drs. Nityanand and Dr. Kamboj for being part of this occasion, and especially to Dr. Nityanand, because as a PhD student, I had read his book on medicinal chemistry, so I have been groomed under the tutelage of his great work, and I'm really happy that I'm part of this occasion today in presence of Honorable Minister and all other dignitaries. So during this journey of 7 decades, we recognize that CDRI has created quite a number of new benchmarks, as was pointed out by Director Professor Kundu. We were able to train professionals, brought several drugs to market, hundreds of technologies were developed and deployed, transferred to industries, and quite a bit of intellectual property was created. And this really is these are the milestones which we should be proud of, and we should be celebrating on the 70th inception day. We all are aware that India has just braved the COVID-19 pandemic under the exemplary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare. And in addition, we have been very proud that our country has provided a glimmer of hope to the world with our pandemic management strategies, drug repurposing efforts, vaccine development and manufacture capability, and finally the much applauded vaccine battery approach. Right? So with this as a backdrop and a strong message by our Honorable Prime Minister to achieve Atmanirbharta in key sectors, I believe that it is an opportune moment for CDRI on the occasion of their 70th year of inception to catapult medicine discovery research by interfacing cutting-edge data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, in addition to the excellent work that is already being carried out in the institute. So I take one particular example where I would like to invoke that nowadays AI-powered precision medical imaging analytics is being used quite widely for drug development strategies. And it is important that such approaches could be integrated in CDRI for drug development and to enable the drug developers to drive accelerated therapy development, personalized medicine, and discovery of new biomarkers. So I urge CDRI to consider partnership with technology innovation hubs and sectoral application hubs of the DSC National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber-Physical Systems, because just imagine if we were to couple experimental or a prescription drug with a wearable IoT-enabled biosensor that can collect physiological data, or it can interface the physiological data of a patient with a healthcare professional. How much benefit would it bring to track the relevant health changes or to avert a medical crisis if the drugs are to be sold together with such type of IoT-enabled biosensors? So on a very personal level, I wish to share that I have had in the past and in the present very strong research collaborations with CDRI scientists, and I'm very indebted to their partnerships, and it is always a pleasure to discuss science and discovery research with CDRI colleagues. So when I wish that in coming decades, CDRI will continue to flourish and it will expand its activities to new horizons and bring in tech-enabled drug discovery process, which can be translated from bench tops to bedside and break new grounds in discovery and bring value to our national missions and also name and global acclaim to India. So finally, I would like to thank Professor Kundu for his kind invitation. It was a true privilege being part of this inception along with Honorable Minister, Professor Mande, and I thank all of you for listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sandeep Verma, for appreciating our work and also highlighting the new avenues which CDRI can adopt for complementing the drug research in India. Now we move on to the most important event of this session, and this is the Atal Colloquium announcement. This year we are starting a new initiative of Atal National Colloquium in the memory of our former Prime Minister, late Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Mr. Vajpayee always insisted development of scientific temper and had flagged off Vigyan Rail, the science exhibition on the wheel, to showcase the work of Indian researchers in different fields of science. And even during Pokhran test, he exhibited deep confidence in India's capability, and he extended the slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan to Jai Vigyan. The Atal National Colloquium will be inaugurated by the Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Science and Technology, and Earth Sciences, Dr. Harshvardhan. He has been an important connect between science and policy making and their implementation. He is an ENT surgeon by training, and his work has received appreciation award from Indian Medical Association. Under his leadership as Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare, a roadmap for WHO and Government of India partnership has been formulated for improvement of healthcare in India as well as in Southeast Asia. As a State Minister of Health, he also ensured successful implementation of polio immunization program, and today India is polio-free. Dr. Harshvardhan has always shown confidence in Indian scientists and their capabilities to bring science and technology to the common man. I request the Honorable Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan ji, for his inaugural address. The NIC team, Dr. Harshvardhan would be addressing the audience.
Dr. Shekhar Mande, CSIR, Professor Sandeep Verma, Secretary Science and Engineering Research Board, Professor based in Lucknow. Also the scientists from CSIR-CDRI Lucknow, staff and students from CSIR-CDRI Lucknow, director and scientists from CSIR laboratories across the country, and many distinguished guests are here in this function. But the most important of all, and which gives me immense pleasure and immense satisfaction, is the presence of two distinguished people, Professor Nityanand and Dr. Kamboj, in this function. I wish I was physically present in this function to greet them. And I am sure it must be a great privilege for the young scientists and the researchers, staff and the students of this prestigious institution to have a darshan of these two great people, the former directors of CSIR, CDRI, and especially Professor Nityanand, who is associated from the day one of this institution's long history. So it's a great day. I must congratulate and compliment all of you, Professor Tapas Kundu and your team, Dr. Shekhar Mande and your team, for this great moment. I know CSIR has a very distinguished history for which everyone in this country can be proud of, not only the scientists belonging to CSIR. There are very few institutions in the country where we can proudly say that the institution was born much before we got independence in 1947. We know CSIR was born in 1942, and for this institution also, the decision to establish CSIR-CDRI, which is celebrating its 70th foundation day today, it was taken in the first few cabinet meetings that India saw after independence. And I always derive extreme satisfaction and pleasure in the fact that the first Vice President of CSIR, a position that I have been blessed with right now for the last over years, was enjoyed by none other than the great leader of India, Dr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee, who was a great distinguished intellectual, a great nationalist, one of the youngest vice chancellors of India, a great visionary, and who in fact laid down his life for the sake of the country. And today, whatever we say proudly about Jammu and Kashmir, Indians can never forget his contribution. And after having visited so many laboratories all across the country, belonging to CSIR, and having seen from close quarters the contribution of Dr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee in the establishment of CSIR institutions, their foundations, their development, we have to always thank two people. The first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and who was very ably supported and guided, and who provided the lead in establishing CSIR. And that is why many of the foundation stones in the CSIR laboratories in the country, they find the names of two of these great leaders of India etched in history. recently I have seen that in a list of 1,200 institutions all over the world, CSIR's ranking as per Chicago ranges from 9th to 15th or maybe from 9th to 20th, which is, I think, very, very significant. So, credit for all this goes to the dedicated research and contribution of CSIR, which works in virtually every field, from the smallest of things to the biggest of research activities. There is hardly anything that I do not see happening inside the CSIR laboratories in India. I fondly remember my visit to the CDRI Central Research Institute, Lucknow, whose 70th Foundation Day celebrations we are enjoying today. And I would appreciate their contribution. We know that a majority of the drug discoveries in India, of which India can feel proud of, they are all, or a significant number of them have all related from this great institution. The country can never forget the development of the first non-steroidal contraceptive developed institution, the Celebration drug, and also the life-saving drug for cerebral malaria, and so many other drugs. And even during the pandemic also we saw the research around the repurposed drugs, the research around genome sequencing, and so many things that have been happening in this laboratory. I will not get into the technical details of all that because you are all familiar about them at least a few hundred times more than what I may be, even after trying to understand your activity in great detail. I also remember that a couple of years back, when Dr. Girish Sani was the DG of CSIR, we all enjoyed the visit of the Prime Minister to this institution to dedicate the new building of CDRI to the nation. And Prime Minister has always had a very high opinion about CSIR and institutions like this. But all through he has been advocating to all of us that all the research that we do, we must make sure that this is people-centric research. The fruits of the research should be delivered to the people. And that is why he has mentioned about the scientific social responsibility, which he says is not about producing a good paper, which will find even mention in a good journal, but it is about how your research and your key paper will create an impact on the life of the common man, to improve the life of the poorest of the poor, to see that their long-standing sufferings are alleviated, are taken care of. And now, this scientific social responsibility about which he talked about at the Tirupati Science Congress, we are in our Science Ministry in the process of developing a policy around that. And I think more than the policy formulation, I think it is now the solemn duty of each and every scientist in CSIR, and of course we are talking about CDRI today, to see and get into the details of the problems that the country continues to face even today. And with my association with science, as a particularly the corona warriors, the health workers and the frontline workers. We have been able to send these vaccines to 23 countries. And while I was talking to the External Affairs Minister in the morning, he told me that there is demand from more than 40 countries right now with him for these vaccines. This is all the great contribution of the scientists of India. And it is not that we are not satisfied with these two vaccines. More than 2.5 dozen vaccines are already in different stages of development in the preclinical and the clinical phases. And all this has happened in the last 1 year during the crisis of COVID. Laboratories which were not supposed to work on a particular mandate, they forgot their regular mandate. They were making ventilators, they were making kits, they were creating the labs for testing, they were doing the genome sequencing, as you have also done. And lot of activities happened in the various laboratories, science laboratories. And this is an occasion to thank and express the gratitude. I would say my personal gratitude, and also on behalf of the Prime Minister, who is our President of CSIR, for the science community. And now occasions like this are also the occasions to actually pledge for further future actions. The clarion call given by the Prime Minister for an Atmanirbhar Bharat, for a new India by 2022, where he wants that every face on the horizon, every child in India, there should be a smile which should be back. There should be adequate health, nutrition, education facility. And everything which needs to be done for the great people of India should be helped with the aid of science. And I'm sure that if there is one community which can help us in achieving the goal of an Atmanirbhar Bharat, of a new India, or our dream to become the top 2-3 scientific nations of the world by 2030, our scientists have to play a very big role. And within science, if I see the potential, without any hesitation, I can say that CSIR after 70-75 years is almost now into next year. You will be into your 80th year. We also enjoyed the privilege of celebrating the Platinum Jubilee, which was again blessed by the Prime Minister. So, for CSIR, looking back, last 80 years, with so much of experience, we should be able to appreciate what needs to be done right now. And there has to be a very, very focused approach. The diagnosis has to be made about not only research, but what type of research. How is it going to benefit the common people, and how can we ensure that we are contributing significantly to a new India of the dreams of our Prime Minister? A new India which can bring back happiness, which can restore the old traditional glory of India and the glory of Indian science and the ancient wisdom of Indian science, and make sure that the future of India becomes much more brighter than the already glorious past. I am very happy to learn that you have initiated a very, very not probably gone and had an early education, and probably places like Lucknow, which he represented in Parliament. These were some of the important places which could very easily be associated with Atalji to a great extent. And today when I learned that CDRI starts Atal Colloquium on Healthcare and Innovation, it gives me great fastest possible speed in India. And having discovered so much during COVID, I know that there are better times ahead of all of us. You have to plan the day, work for the future. I look forward to visiting CDRI in the near future, and I'm sure that by that time you will also frame your new vision and your new aim for the next decade, which has started recently. The end of this present decade should see India as the topmost, amongst the topmost 2-3 scientific nations of the whole world in terms of all parameters. Although we have achieved quite a bit in the past few years, there is a need to do much more. All my good wishes to all of you, all my respects to all the senior scientists, and especially people like Dr. Mittal and Dr. Kamboj, who have graced this occasion and made us all happier. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Harshvardhan, for sharing your vision and also showing confidence in the capabilities of Indian scientists to bring science and technology to the common man. Now we move on to the next event. This is a very proud moment for CSIR-CDRI to showcase the establishment of Common Research and Technology Hub, CRTDH, jointly funded by CSIR and DSIR. I request the Honorable Minister to kindly inaugurate this facility. Thank you, sir. The main objectives of CRTDH are to set up and operate a pharmaceutical formulation development and national clinical trial batch production facility. This will operate for a GLP compliant, preclinical and clinical bioanalysis and drug testing. The unit will undertake generation of chemical and pharmaceutical information on APIs and formulations, will perform quality assurance, monograph, final or batch release specifications, including stability studies. In vitro pharmacokinetics and metabolism studies would also be conducted at this unit. Preclinical pharmacokinetics, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion data would be generated. And the unit would also be involved in evaluating the bioavailability and bioequivalence. And it would be a huge asset to various clinical pharmacological sites such as KGMU, Lucknow, PGI Chandigarh, KEM Hospital, Mumbai, and many other sites where clinical trials are conducted. The CRTDH will work as a self-sustaining entity and which would be catering the needs of MSMEs, academia, and various in-house projects. The next event in this session is the technology transfer. It is a proud moment that CSIR-CDRI's technology for fluorescent dyes and quenchers for development of RT-PCR-based diagnostic kit and their uses in life sciences is going to be transferred to Biotech Desk Private Limited, Hyderabad. This project was formulated under the aegis of CSIR's public-private partnership program during pandemic time. We would like to thank DG CSIR Dr. Shekhar Mande and Mr. R.P. Singh for initiating this program and doing time-bound reviews and providing enormous momentum to this program to cater the nation's need of self-reliance. This technology on fluorescent probes and quenchers will reduce the dependency on supply of reagents from foreign manufacturers. These dyes and quenchers can be used in diverse R&D areas and can also be applied or employed for clinical applications. I would like to request Director Professor Tapas Kundu, MD Biotech Desk, Dr. Shraddha Goenka, and the research teams of Dr. Atul Goyal, Ashish Arora, Neeti Kumar, and Damodar Reddy to come up on the stage for the technologies transfer. We have Mr. Naseem Siddiqui from the Business Development Unit, who would be exchanging the papers with Biotech Desk. I would now like to request Dr. Shraddha Goenka, MD of Biotech Desk, to present her experience about this work and this partnership.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am indeed privileged to be here amongst you today. I am myself a product of CSIR. I've done my PhD from CCMB some time back, and I always consider myself to be a part of you and shall be on my journey always. And I've integrated industry into this as what is the mandate of CSIR, where you have scientific research geared up towards industrial transfer, and that is what we are doing here today. And when the call for the PPP came up from CSIR, that is the public-private partnership, and it was the need of the hour to develop indigenous tools for doing scientific research in the country, as well as for developing something for diagnostic and testing purposes for COVID. Biotech Desk came forward thinking that this development of tools, which is a very, very important part of research, and I'm sure you'll agree that all of you here sitting in your labs today are impaired if you cannot get your material on hand to work with. And if such supply chains can be developed from within the country, I think it'll be a very proud moment for the nation, as well as it'll make your work easier and make science progress. And I must thank my collaborators and my team here at CDRI today, Dr. Atul Goyal, Dr. Ashish Arora, Dr. Neeti Kumar, who made it possible, and their team of students who worked tirelessly for these months, and the culmination of which we see today. And of course, my collaborators in the industry side, which is Huvel Life Sciences, whose enzymes we are using today in the kit. So we are using the reverse transcriptases, the Taq polymerases, all are made in-house. And also the synthesis, oligosynthesis is being done by our collaborator Sahajin, which is another company in Hyderabad. And coming together and collaborating, I think, is the need for the day. Just like between a scientific institute and the industry, it is also the need for all of us to get together for the betterment and the welfare of the nation. And I think in the pursuit of the truth, which is Satyam, if we can translate it into welfare or Shivam, the result will be nothing but Sundaram. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shraddha Goenka. We have now the release of our annual report and the souvenirs and the coffee table book. And for this, I would like to request the Honorable Minister to grace the occasion by releasing the annual report. The annual report is showcasing the research activities during 2021. This also provides the insight into the projects initiated at CDRI to join the nation's fight against the pandemic. And along with it, we also showcase our fundamental and applied research in the areas of infectious diseases, cancer, and lifestyle disorder. I now request the Honorable Minister to please release the CDRI 70 souvenir. This is a souvenir showcasing the journey of our institute and the existence of in past 70 years and its contribution in the nation's healthcare sector. And last, we have a coffee table book. I request Dr. Harshvardhan to please release the coffee table book. This coffee table book is a compilation of CDRI's legacy and the transformation from the Chhatar Manzil to the state-of-the-art new campus. As the Honorable Minister has already pointed out, that there are stages of transformation, and this coffee table book, which is a photo gallery, shows the transformation from Chhatar Manzil to the state-of-the-art new campus. With this, I now request Dr. Amir Nazir, the convener of this program, to conclude the first part of this Annual Day program.
We would like to thank Honorable Minister Sir for accommodating our program in his very tight schedule. We are told that his entire day was busy, but he actually squeezed this program in to be with us. Our big thank you to you, sir, for taking out your time out of your busy schedule. So since he would have to attend on to other events, so Honorable Minister Sir will be going offline. So we thank him for his presence with us. And a big round of applause and a standing ovation, please, if we may. Thank you, sir. Now, as Honorable Minister Sir goes offline, we will continue with the other parts of the program. Please.
Moving on to the next, we have felicitation of incentive awardees. The first in this section is the student awards. As I call out the names of the students, they are requested to please come up on the stage and collect their award. The first student award is Dr. M.M. Dhar Memorial Distinguished Career Achievement Award. Dr. Dhar was a former director of CSIR-CDRI, and this award is constituted in his memory by Sachin and Sikta Pradhan Foundation, USA. This year, this award in Chemical Sciences goes to Mr. Amrendra Kumar, student of Dr. T. Narendra from Division of Medicinal and Process Chemistry. And in Biological Sciences, this is awarded to Mr. Muhammad Afsar, student of Dr. R. Ravi Shankar from Molecular and Structural Biology Division. Unfortunately, Muhammad Afsar is not here, so Dr. Ravi Shankar Ramachandran will be collecting award on his behalf. So please, a big round of applause for the awardee. Mr. Amrendra Kumar. Next is for Mr. Muhammad Afsar, and Dr. Ravi Shankar will be collecting the award on his behalf. The next award is Dr. J.M. Khanna Memorial Early Career Achievement Award. Dr. Khanna was an alumnus of CDRI. Subsequently, he joined industry and rose to the post of Vice President in Ranbaxy. This year, this award is jointly shared by Mr. Aditya Sharma, student of Dr. Akhilesh Tamrakar from Biochemistry Division, and Mr. Mohit Kumar, a student of Dr. Dipankar Kole from Medicinal and Process Chemistry. The next award is Dr. Swarna Nitya Anand Memorial Early Career Achievement Award for Women Research Scholars. Dr. Swarna Nitya Anand was wife of Dr. Nitya Anand, and she was a scientist in CDRI, and she retired as in charge of clinical and experimental medicine. This year, this award is given to Ms. Reena Bharti, student of Dr. Amit Mishra from Pharmaceuticals and Pharmacokinetics Division.
May we request Dr. Nityanand sir to please give away this award? It will be there only, sir.
So Dr. Swarna Nitya Anand Memorial Award is given to Ms. Reena Bharti. Please, a big round of applause for the recipient. Next, we move on to Dr. D.L. Srivastava Memorial Early Career Achievement Award. Dr. Srivastava was a deputy director of CDRI, and he was one of the first person to join CDRI in 1948. He made preparations for inauguration of CDRI in 1951 and made elaborate plans to convert the Chattar Manjal Palace into a working research institute. This year, this award is given to Mr. Anirban Ghoshal, a student of Dr. Ajay Kumar Srivastava from Medicinal and Process Chemistry. The next section of award will be hosted by my colleague Raja, so I request Raja to take over.
Thank you, Khushbu. Next, we have the incentive awards for technology, which is shared between two technologies. The first one is for the process for the preparation of Umifenovir, an antiviral, for which the advanced clinical trials are ongoing for the COVID-19. The industry is Medicest Pharmaceuticals Private Limited, Goa, and the technology was transferred on April 29th, 2020 from CDRI. I request the team members to kindly come up onto the stage and accept the award. Let's have a big round of applause for them. And the second technology to share this award is CDRI-219CO2 for bone regeneration and mitigation of corticosteroid-induced osteoporosis. The industry is Farmanza Herbal Private Limited, Gujarat. The technology was transferred on February 14th, 2020 from CDRI. Again, I invite the team members to kindly come up onto the stage and accept the awards. Let's have a big round of applause for them. The team members for Cassia Occidentalis. I request all the team members to come up onto the stage and accept the award. Moving ahead, now we have the incentive awards for the patents. And this year's incentive award for patent is awarded to Dr. Sabyasachi Sanyal and his team for his work in combination of clofazimine and imatinib for effective therapy of drug-resistant myeloid leukemia. I request Dr. Sabyasachi Sanyal and his team to come up onto the stage and receive the awards. Dr. Sabyasachi Sanyal and his team. Dr. Ravi Shankar Ramachandran, Dr. Arun Kumar Trivedi, he is here. Let's have a big round of applause for them. Now I invite Ms. Khushbu to announce the next segment of awards.
Now we have the incentive awards for the publications of the year 2020 in biological and chemical sciences. We'll start with biological sciences first. As I call out the names, the respective authors are requested to please come up on the stage to collect your award. The first in this category is the publication by Dr. Ravi Shankar Ramachandran and his team in the journal Nucleic Acid Research for their work on Mycobacterium tuberculosis endonucleases involved in base excision repair. A big round of applause for them. Next publication is for Dr. Prabhat Ranjan Mishra's team in the journal Acta Biomaterialia for theranostic lyotropic liquid crystalline nanostructures for selective breast cancer imaging and therapy. Dr. P.R. Mishra and his team. If there could be any other member from the team who could receive it. It's Urandur S, Banala VT, Shukla RP, Gautam S, Marvaha. Nobody. Okay, so we move on to the next. The next publication is by Dr. Sabyasachi Sanyal and his team in the journal Hematologica for the work on leprosy drug clofazimine mediated inhibition of chronic myeloid leukemia cells. The next publication that is awarded is by Dr. Amit Mishra and his team for their publication in the journal Molecular Therapy and Nucleic Acids on host-directed therapy in pulmonary tuberculosis. The last publication in biological sciences group is by Dr. A.K. Haldar and Dr. Neena Goel's team for their publication in the journal MBio on guanylate binding protein which restrict Leishmania donovani growth. The awardees for publication in chemical sciences and further categories will be announced by Raja.
Thank you, Khushbu. Now coming on to the chemical sciences, the first award is for Dr. Ravinder Kumar and his team for their work on site-selective 1,3 double functionalization of arenes using paraquinol. The second award goes to Dr. Dipankar Kole and his team for their work in organic letters. The title was Copper Catalyzed Ortho H Diaryl Amination of arylamines to synthesize triarylamines. Kindly come onto the stage and receive the award. Next, we have Dr. Sanjay Batra and his team for their work in decarboxylative oxidative amidation of aryl alpha ketocarboxylic acids with nitroarenes and nitroso compounds in aqueous medium. Anyone from the team who can collect the award? Let's have a big round of applause for them. It's my pleasure to announce again. Again, we have Dr. Ravindra Kumar and his team for their work in hydrogen bond guided reaction of cyclohexadiene aldehydes with amines. Next, we have Dr. Pintu Kumar Mandal and his team for their work on intramolecular 6-exo-dig post-UGI cyclization of N-substituted 2 alkylamines. I request the team members to collect the award. Again, we have Dr. Dipankar Kole and his team for their work in organic letters. The title of the paper was PD-catalyzed CH halogenation of indolines and tetrahydroquinolines with removable directable group. Let's have a big round of applause for them. Last but not the least, moving ahead, we would like to present a token of appreciation to the CSIR-CDRI staff for the completion of 25 years of their active services. Starting with Dr. Sanjay Batra, Senior Principal Scientist from Medicinal and Process Chemistry. Thank you very much, sir, for your dedication. Let's have a big round of applause for him. Next, Dr. Sharad Sharma, Chief Scientist from Toxicology and Experimental Medicine. Next, we have Sri Narendra Kumar from Lab Animal Facility. Let the appreciation keep coming in. Shri Anil Kumar Verma from Pharmacology Division. He is a senior technician from Pharmacology Division. Next, we have Shri Ramlakhan, a senior technician from Medicinal and Process Chemistry. Next, we have Shri Dinesh Kumar from Lab Animals Facility. He is also a senior technician. Next, we have Shri Pradeep Tirke from Lab Animals, again a senior technician. Next, we have Srimati Manju from MPC division, again a senior technician. Next, we have Shri Mahesh Chandra Tiwari from Group 1 Endocrinology division. Next, we have Shri Satish Chandra Yadav from Group 1 Accounts division. Now we move on to the 46th Sir Edward Melanaby Memorial Oration. I request Dr. Niti Kumar to take the event forward. Thank you.
So before we move on to the 46th Melanaby oration, we will like to have few comments from our former directors, Dr. Nityanand and Dr. Kamboj. So Dr. Nityanand, on the occasion of 70th Foundation Day of, it would be nice if you could also give your feedback or kind of, giving us direction and your feedback how we can bring CDRI to newer heights.
It is such a pleasure to say a few words of appreciation for all that NBRI has done to bring the usefulness of all the natural products from India into proper use and proper application, and bring all this work into the whole sort of light of all the people in the country. It's a very big contribution to make a proper use of the herbal products in the country, and wish you all the best for the year to come for making this a real important contribution which Indian science and technology can make for the betterment of the human society and bring health care into a new spectrum. Wish you all the best for the days to come. All the best. And very happy to be here today on this 70th welcome day of CDRI.
Thank you, Dr. Nityanand. Thank you very much for your encouraging words. Dr. Kamboj, if you could give your comments and suggestions.
CSIR-CDRI के सत्र में वर्ष दिवस में हिस्सा लेते हुए मुझे बहुत ही खुशी होती है, और जो जैसे काम CDRI आज कर रहा है उसे देखते हुए मैं डॉक्टर कुंदू को बधाई दूंगा कि उन्होंने CDRI को सही दिशा में जाने दिया। और जो डॉक्टर साहब ने बताया हर्बल प्रोडक्ट्स जो हम पहले से एम्फेसाइज करते रहे हैं, यही एक क्षेत्र है जिसे आप 2-3 साल में ही मार्केट में ला सकते हो। सिंथेटिक कंपाउंड को लाने में बहुत देर लगती है, और CDRI ने इतने थोड़े समय में ही 3-4 प्रोडक्ट्स मार्केट में लाते हुए बहुत ही अच्छा काम किया है। मैं CDRI को फिर 70वें वर्ष दिवस पे बधाई देता हूं और डॉक्टर कुंदू इसी तरह ही आपको आगे से लीड करते रहेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, we will now move forward to the 46th Mellanby oration. And this year's Mellanby oration will be given by Dr. Shekhar Mande, DG CSIR and Secretary DSIR. This oration was incepted in 1976 in the memory of CDRI's first director, Sir Edward Mellanby. Sir Edward Mellanby was a British pharmacologist, and he did seminal work in understanding how a fat-soluble dietary factor is important for curing rickets. And later research showed that Sir Mellanby's work was identified as vitamin D. He played an instrumental role in laying the scientific foundation of CSIR-CDRI. And for this session, I would like to call upon the director, Professor Tapas Kundu, to again welcome the audience and give his opening remarks for today's oration.
Colleagues, one of the story probably is unknown to several of you is, besides being an excellent scientist, Dr. Mellanby was a great leader and visionaries, and in a real sense a person who could identify the jewel even before they become jewel. So it is Dr. Mellanby's vision that got us Professor Nityanand. So when Professor Nityanand had come Lucknow to visit his friends, he happened to visit CDRI and he happened to meet Dr. Mellanby. Dr. Nityanand already, after returning from Cambridge, has joined as a faculty in Delhi University. And then he just came Lucknow to see his friends, and then he happened to see Dr. Mellanby in CDRI Chattar Manjil campus. At that time, 10 minutes after talking to him, the first director of CDRI decided that this man should be hired for CDRI. And he was hired. He left his job and joined CDRI, and rest is history. So such a visionary was Dr. Mellanby, and he was not very long time here, but in a short time his contribution was tremendous in that sense. To memorize that, this Mellanby Oration Award lecture was initiated. If you see the list, it has been enriched by several generations of scientists, and that includes a great chemist, great biologist, as great industrialist and pharmacologist. Last year, this lecture was given by Dr. Yusuf Hamid, who is the man of the CIPLA and also a very close friend of Dr. Nityanand and CDRI. This year, when we were searching that who will be the most suitable person for giving the Mellanby oration in 46th point, and it seems to all of us, those who select these, that it could be none other than Dr. Shekhar Mande. Dr. Shekhar Mande, I know him since my student days. A very humble student of Molecular Biophysics Unit of Indian Institute of Science, and an excellent student of Professor Vijayan. He did his PhD from Indian Institute of Science, MBU as I said, and later on his postdoc from Netherlands, and you will see followed by his excellent career as a scientist and as an excellent teacher and a mentor. Besides, wherever Dr. Mande has taken the responsibility as a leader, he has shown his broad mind academic mind and innovative mind everywhere. In a very critical time when he took CSIR's leadership, CSIR was really in a tough time in all sense, and it became tougher in the pandemic time. And as you see, what a fantastic way Dr. Mande has led entire CSIR. But in this time, even though his science has slowed down, but it has never stopped. He has done an excellent science all over, focusing tuberculosis as a disease. So none other than him could be suitable at this juncture for this lecture. It is a great privilege for CDRI. In CDRI's 70th Foundation Day, the 46th Mellenby lecture will be given by Dr. Mande. And I am very proud of to tell you that he has very kindly immediately agreed for giving this lecture. And I thank him and welcome him for this lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Kundu. As Dr. Kundu has already mentioned his association with Dr. Shekhar Mande, I would like to just add one or two sentences. Dr. Shekhar Mande had associations with CDRI and its faculties long back. So on one of the occasion, I had a chance to interact with him, and he did mention that many a times he has come to CDRI and he has collaborated and discussed different aspects of his research whenever he visited CDRI. So, in addition to being a bench scientist, I would like to mention that he's a fantastic teacher and a mentor. And he's nationally and internationally known as a renowned structural and computational biologist. And he has made seminal contributions in understanding the structural and functional dynamics of Mycobacterium tuberculosis proteins. And looking at his research career, you would understand that he has been a man of different cities and continents. His research career had been very mobile. He has worked he studied physics in University of Nagpur and did his PhD from IISc. Then he worked at Groningen University, Netherlands, and also did postdoctoral work, research work at University of Washington, Seattle. He has worked in CSIR IMTech, Chandigarh, and CDFT, Hyderabad, and he served as a director of NCCS Pune before joining as DG CSIR. His work has been both nationally and internationally recognized, and today he's going to share his vision on present and future efforts to combat infectious diseases. Over to you, Dr. Mande. Dr. Mande, we cannot hear you. The NIC team, could you please unmute Dr. Mande? We cannot hear Dr. Mande. The NIC team, can you please look into it? Dr. Mande, can you please unmute yourself? We can't even hear Professor Sandeep Verma. It's her problem, okay. Okay.
Is it any better in Lucknow?
Yes, now you're audible. Yes, you're audible. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sandeep, we can also say hello so that we can also hear you.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah,
All of us now.
both of you are audible now. Thank you.
Cool, cool. Let me go to the slide now. First of all, thank you all of you very much for inviting me to the 46th Edward Lanby Memorial Lecture. I am Tapas Kundu, Director of CSIR-CDRI, fellow senior directors Saroj Parikh and Prabhat Trivedi, the esteemed past directors of CDRI, Dr. Nityanand, Dr. Kamboj, all the fellow scientists, technical staff, administrative staff, students, postdocs, and everyone. Thank you very much, first of all, for giving me the honor of talking about infectious diseases to all of you. I'm afraid I will not be talking about my work today, although I have been very excited with the work that we published in Current Science recently. But to try these some occasion, when we are talking dear academics, I will come and talk to you about this. Also, I feel very, very humbled by the lineage that you have told me that I am speaking in. If it was Dr. Yusuf Hamid who spoke last year. And Tapas, you may also remember that when CSIR was formed in 1942, one of the persons who drove formation of CSIR was none other than the father of Yusuf Hamid, Khwaja Abdul Hamid. And Dr. Nityanand might remember him, the founder of CIPLA. He actually was one of the brains behind driving the government for starting CSIR. Yes, sir. And Khwaja Abdul Hamid not only did that, he remained member of CSIR's governing body for the next 20 years. So here the Hamid family has had a very long association with CSIR in general. So thank you once again for the privilege that you have given me. In about 25 to 30 minutes, I would like to put forth my views about infectious diseases for all of you, which of it would be known to many of you in the audience. If you look at the top 10 causes of death in our world, and this is taken from WHO data, and if you divide different countries in 4 rough categories, on your left are the low-income countries, on the rightmost panel, what we have the high-income countries. And the green and blue bars represent non-communicable and communicable. So green bar represent communicable diseases, and the blue bar represent non-communicable diseases. And there is no surprise that you see that in the low-income countries, it is the communicable diseases are the major cause of mortality even today. For example, neonatal conditions, lower respiratory infections, diarrhea, malaria, TB, HIV/AIDS, they continue to be major killers in the low-income countries. But as you move from the left to the right of this particular figure, what you see that already when you come to lower middle-income countries, number one disease is the heart disease and not neonatal conditions anymore. So as you transition from low income to low middle income,
already non-communicable diseases are taking more prominence. And that becomes even more prominent when you go to upper middle income countries. That is the third from left slide. When you say top 4 are the blue bars, which are all non-communicable. And it's only that lower respiratory infections actually continue to hold away in top 10 killers in the high middle income countries. But if you go to high income countries, there is extreme right panel, you see that almost all of them, the most prominent ones are non-communicable diseases. Now it is no surprise, we all know that over the last 30 years, as the living conditions improved around the world, as the human development index improved, as sanitation improved, it has actually led to the reduction in number of communicable diseases around the world, especially those in the higher HDI, the human development index. Concomitantly, the major killers now are the things like heart disease, Alzheimer's, smoking, the strokes, trachea, and lung diseases, cough-bee, and so on and so forth. So many things actually are becoming now major killers which are non-communicable in the development industrial age. So this is no surprise, and because of this, many of the major pharmaceuticals which essentially reside in the developed world or in the countries with high human development index, they have started placing less and less emphasis on infectious diseases. It is a pity, because pharmaceuticals don't see any business, and therefore many pharmaceuticals around the world, despite a lot of persuasion from WHO and United Nations and all, have actually started placing less emphasis on research on infectious diseases. Let us very quickly look at origins of the human diseases. Most of the human infectious diseases actually arose when we were actually hunter-gatherers. So basically when we were early primitive human beings, hunter-gatherers, many of the infectious diseases existed. But they became very prominent only after we started forming colonies and agriculture came in. This happened roughly about 10 to 15,000 years ago, when we actually adopted agriculture, and then we started forming colonies of about 200 to 400 people together, and the colonies of course grew over a period of time. Many of the infectious diseases can only be sustained in very dense human populations that did not exist anywhere in the world before agriculture. For example, it is believed that tuberculosis arose after agriculture practices started. Indeed, probably originally was a disease of the cattle, of the livestock, and then eventually by zoonosis, it came into humans and became a very prominent disease as what we see today. The 5 stages by which infectious diseases really arise, and many of the infectious diseases, as I just said, like TB, jumps from species to species. Many of the infectious diseases also jump from species to species. If you talk of zoonosis, when the disease is actually arising out of animal species, just like what COVID-19 has, we will talk about it a little later, many other diseases actually have come from animals into humans. Stage 1, the disease exists only in animals. In the stage 2, the primary infection already starts coming in the human beings, but it does not have too many cycles of human-to-human transmission. In the stage 3, the human-to-human transmission actually begins. In stage 4, there are large outbreaks, and in stage 5, that particular pathogen has clearly adopted the human being as one of its strong force. An example, of course, is that of HIV, which essentially arose from SIV, as all of us know that it is. It is not new in evolution. In evolution, ever since the last universal common ancestor came into being, the first of the organisms that became a living being in evolution, and then it started multiplying, and then it so happened that different species started arising, speciation occurred. If we go to that part of evolution, very early evolution of life, even then we find traces of one species invading into another. Right? So the interspecies interaction is very, very long ever since life arose on our planet. And a classical example of this host-pathogen interactions is, of course, what you see here. Bacteria, you would believe, would be immune to infection from someone else, but indeed, as all of us know, that bacteria are also susceptible to fungus. Bacteria, when the fungus invade bacteria, many times they integrate into the bacterial DNA and start replicating them, and at times they also become lytic. Right? So basically, the host-pathogen interaction, that one species acting as a host and other species acting as a parasite on that host, are actually very common examples across many different kingdoms. And you know that there are diseases in plants, there are diseases in animals, they can also be transmitted from one entity to another. And of course, we know that animal diseases can transform into human diseases, and many special examples actually take place in humans. Let us look at how do we detect a disease whether it is infectious or it is non-infectious. Is it communicable or is it non-communicable? And just two examples I would like to give as examples of how modern science has very rapidly made progress in the last 100 years. How do we detect diseases then? I think the best example that comes to my mind is of Sir Ronald Ross. Right? We all know that malaria kills more than 1 lakh people every year of all ages, even today in countries in sub-Saharan Africa, and even in India, there is a large mortality due to malaria even today. And Sir Ronald Ross, by doing his experiments in Calcutta and in Hyderabad, actually set up a very, very interesting experiment that is unthinkable today. Unthinkable not because of the elegance of the experimental design, unthinkable because of the ethical standard that has evolved in the last 100 years. What he did, for the benefit of the students in the audience, is he postulated that the mosquitoes are transmitting disease from one human being to another human being. That is the postulate that he started working on. And to prove that, he collected mosquitoes which had bitten people who had malaria, had come down with fever. He took a healthy individual, put that healthy individual on a bed, covered the bed with a mosquito net so that no mosquito would actually escape that particular bed. Now the healthy individual found himself on the bed covered in a mosquito net. And at that time, Sir Ronald Ross introduced those mosquitoes inside his mosquito net. As I said, on today's day, this kind of experiment is unimaginable. It should not be done, or rather, it cannot be done because of the high ethical standards. What was the finding? The finding was obvious, that the person, healthy individual, who was actually there inside a mosquito net, developed malaria symptoms in no time. Very soon, this person developed malaria symptoms, confirming the hypothesis of Sir Ronald Ross that indeed it is caused by mosquito bite from one person to another. But not only that, Sir Ross went on actually dissecting mosquito gut and made very detailed notes of how this happens. And his photograph is actually from the notebook of Sir Ronald Ross. This notebook exists in Hyderabad. There is an exhibition, there is a museum which Usmania University maintains there, and this one is on display. His notebook is actually on display. And he made very detailed observations of the life cycle of Plasmodium in the mosquito gut, and that in humans over the next few years. He was able to show through these observations that indeed when the mosquito bites an infected person, and when mosquito later bites a healthy individual, it transmits malaria to the healthy person. Today's date, what we know as now severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, how was it detected? And I've given the rough timeline here, and I've also included CSIR into this timeline because I want to talk about CSIR's response to COVID, which all of us are very proud. The CSIR as an organization has literally stood together in this era of pandemic and delivered several innovative solutions. But we'll come to that detail later. How was COVID detected first? In the last week of December, Chinese media reported that it was and WHO sent its team to Wuhan on 31st December. The 2nd January, WHO alerted the Global Population Alert and Response Network. On 9th of January, China had sequenced the first of the coronaviruses. The cause was detected. It was detected due to a virus, and the virus was fully sequenced by 9th of January. In something like 10 days, we had detected that the cause of the disease is a virus, and we knew what exactly virus disease. Of course, there is a coronavirus. It is distantly related to SARS-CoV-1, outbreak of which we saw in 2003-2004 in some of the Southeast Asian countries. It also a cousin of MERS-CoV, outbreak of which we have seen in Middle East, sporadic outbreaks. But now there is a threat that this actually would spread to new countries. 13th January, Thailand confirmed its first case of stage fright. 15th January, Japan confirmed its first case in the subcontinent. On 21st January, USA reported its first case. On 26th January, WHO released the first online course on how we are going to deal with novel coronavirus. WHO has set the alarm going, but WHO has yet not had not issued instructions that this is going to be spreading like a wildfire, what we know now. On 30th January, India reported its first case of a nurse who returned from Wuhan to Kerala. It was the first case that was reported in India on 30th January. On 11th February, WHO announced the disease would be called COVID-19. And as luck would have it, the CSIR director meeting was held in Goa on 25th-26th February. And in the directors meeting, although the disease was not called a pandemic, global pandemic as yet, the instructions to keep distance, instructions to wear masks had not been issued yet. But yet, in the director meeting, the 37 laboratory directors and the heads of divisions of CSIR, we deliberated a plan to deal with COVID-19 should it become a global emergency. So we were literally ahead of the world at that particular point of time. Sure enough, 15 days later, WHO declared that COVID-19 could now be called as a global pandemic. So, having been ahead of the curve, that is at least in the technical curve, that what we are going to do in COVID-19, there was some lead time to think about and decide about a strategy that we are going to roll out. What we have in our hand. To control any infectious disease, or rather control any disease for that matter, there are three primary arms to control the disease. Number one can try to prevent the disease by healthy living style, by eating nutritious food, and of course, vaccinate ourselves against diseases which are of great threat. The second arm that is of diagnosis. If one suspects that a person is come down with the disease, one has to have the ability to very quickly come up with a diagnosis for that particular disease. And for that, one can actually do multiple different ways of diagnosis, and we have seen how innovative people have been around the world in these diagnosis. And the third, of course, in the unfortunate circumstance that an individual comes down with the disease, then we must have proper treatment in terms of drugs, antibiotics, or whatever biomedical treatment against that particular disease. So these are the three principal arms to deal with any disease for that particular time. Right? The first one is, of course, prevention, by vaccination or wellness. The second one is by early detection, diagnosis. And third is the chemotherapeutic intervention. Vaccines can be of many different kinds. Vaccines can be delivered through many different kinds, intravenous, dermal. They can also be delivered through nasal, oral, many different routes. Vaccine can be delivered. Vaccine can be made out of the whole pathogen, inactivated pathogen. Vaccine can also be made by generating attenuated pathogen, such as that is done with BCG, which is the attenuated microvirus. There are multiple different ways of vaccine. But last 1 year, yet another very exciting
and RNA vaccines. It's a very, very exciting development that has happened in the last 1 year. In terms of diagnosis, the typical diagnostic tests have to be very rapid, have to be possible to detect it wherever. If the pathogen is airborne, you should be able to look at the airborne pathogen, or you should be able to see on the air. You can also have molecular kind of diagnosis, which can actually help us in detecting the pathogen detection. There is one area where CSIR, given its transdisciplinary nature, has greatly contributed in the coming time. Therapeutics, of course, CDRI is a great example of developing new therapeutics. I don't have to talk much more about therapeutics. We explore multiple chemical spaces, therapies. We also explore DNA or RNA-based therapeutics, and we also explore biologics, all of which actually form a combined strategy for dealing with any of the diseases. We know that TB has been a global problem for the last about 10,000 years. There have been billions of tuberculosis around the world which have killed several hundreds of thousands of people. Last year alone, according to the statistics in India, the official statistics suggest that about 80,000 people died of TB last year alone. Some of the world agencies believe that about 400,000 people died in India of TB. The TB continues to be a great problem around the world, but especially in the countries which are either low income, or low middle income, or high middle income. The problems that I described to you in the previous 3 slides are actually highlighted very well in the TB itself. Taking TB as a case, they have inadequate diagnosis. They have the efficacy of BCG, which we don't know whether it works or not very well. We know that BCG works in children, but we don't know if BCG protects adults or not. Obviously, it does not. Because the TB load in India is so high, it is obvious that BCG does not work in adults. The last 10 or 15 years, WHO has constantly promoted directly observed short course therapy, what we also call as DOTS. But despite DOTS, and despite the drugs which are expected to cure TB in 99% of the cases, we still have thousands of people dying in India. Are we really looking at the correct drug therapy? We are told that a combination of 5 drugs are to be given in the first 2 months, and we are told that rifampicin and isoniazid are to be continued for the next 6 to 8 months. Is that the right strategy? We don't know. A systematic study has not been done yet, but lakh to 4 lakh people every year in India. To add to that, we have seen usage of extensive This shows what is the global TB drug pipeline, and we do hope that some of the Indian global therapy candidates would also enter this pipeline in the near future. So what are the challenges in containing infectious diseases? Let us come to CSIR's COVID strategy, and this gives me an opportunity to ponder over the fact that infectious diseases have been around for several years, for several millennia, and infectious diseases, most of them, we believe have originated after the origin of agriculture, or at least human-to-human transmission is post-agriculture. The question that we ask ourselves, how do we effectively prevent any new disease? Can we predict or prevent the next outbreak? COVID-19 is not the last of the pandemic that we are going to see. There are already reports of some skin or flesh-eating bacteria in Australia. There are already some reports of pockets of fungal infections that are breaking out somewhere. These are pointers to the grim fact that this is not just pandemic. There are many more pandemics that are listed here. But in what form this pandemic will arise is only a question your guess is as good as my guess. For that, we need to understand the disease well. We need to have abilities to diagnose the disease well and quickly. We need to have ability to generate vaccines, the same manner what we have done for COVID-19. But the future diseases may not be as easy as COVID-19 to develop. Let us be aware of it. And we must have ability to develop new drugs. And this ability, we haven't really shown that trait lately during the COVID-19 pandemic. We mix the entire humanity of us. That was based on 5 different figures that all of you have heard about. For deriving the strategy, we actually quickly pondered ourselves with what are the challenges and unmet needs in COVID-19. And there were obvious answers to that. We did not know how to diagnose. Of course, we know now that RT-PCR is a good way. There is no point of care diagnostics. There is no vaccine. There is no therapeutics. We knew that the virus is highly infectious. We knew that it leads to respiratory failure, and we did not know the gravity of the progression of the disease. On the other hand, we knew CSIR possesses expertise in many different areas. CSIR has demonstrated expertise in sequencing and bioinformatics. CSIR has demonstrated expertise in diagnostics. CSIR has been the fountainhead of generic pharma industry in India, and CDRI has done very strong contributions towards this. And CDRI has multiple other CSIR has multiple such other experiences that exist within CSIR. If you map the unmet needs with our expertise, it was not very difficult to come up with a strategy to deal with this. Our strategy was built upon 5 pillars, as I said, and the 5 pillars were rapid and economic testing, tracing, new drugs, devices, and supply chain logistics. The 2 fundamental principles that we said we are going to follow if we have to have a proper strategy in place. What are the fundamental principles? The principle was that we will not get into any of the areas, whether it be new diagnostics, or whether it be new drug, or anything, unless we have committed industry partners. From day one, we are looking at industry partners who will work with us in developing the diagnostics or drugs. The first principle, and it was cardiac. And suppose I told you something ago, the trials that have been undertaken of immunotherapy are actually in partnership with industry. And that's the principle that we have followed steadfastly in everything that we have done. And that was because we know that we are a very innovative group of people in CSIR. But to take our innovations to market, we need help of private industry or MSME or startup. And therefore, from day one, we tied up with many different industries. The few of them are shown here: Sun Pharma, Reliance, Tata, CSIR, and so on. Upon any important matter. So when we spoke to our industrial partners, we said that supply chain has been worked out so well that every component of what we need has to be available. And taking these 2 things, considering these 2 particular matters, we moved ahead from March onwards, literally March onwards. On 25th March 2020, the CSIR strategy group met every single evening. Every evening there will be calls between 6 o'clock, very often till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and slowly as time progressed, the calls started dropping to 6 to 9 and then 6 to 8. And this continued till almost September or October. Only when the strategy was firmly in place and only when the innovations started coming forth, our strategy, then we actually started getting this off. But even today, the strategy group meets twice a week on Mondays and Fridays. And many of you have a chance to attend the strategy meeting for this. Let me show you some of the innovation of code. All of you have thought of this, therefore I am not going to spend much time.
One of the innovations that all of us are very proud of, and Honorable Minister of Science and Technology today mentioned about it, is that based on a CRISPR-Cas system, we have generated this test kit called cellular. It is a paper-based test kit. It's CRISPR-Cas leads. It can be done in about 45 minutes. It about half the cost of RT-PCR, and it has accurate RT-PCR. Similarly, CCMB group came up with the dry swab technique, the same RT-PCR, except the fact you don't have to send a sample in viral transfer medium, and you don't need to isolate RT. This alone reduces the cost of the kit by about half, and it increases the throughput by about 3-fold. The moment you don't isolate RNA, you can actually do 3 times the test that you are doing. So the two very good innovations that we have brought forth. We also brought forth many generic drugs. Celebration-2021 is an example. Cipla is marketing today under the brand name of Ciplenza. And as you can see in the pocket, at the bottom of that particular packet, is Cipla, and there is ILCT logo on that particular aspect. Of course, as I said, many more clinical trials are going on, including that of Phenolic and CDRI partner with the results of Goa in this particular aspect. Different medical devices, and the ones that we are most proud of course, are ventilators, the source value ventilator, which is an equivalent of bilevel positive respiration or BiPAP. We have recently finished the order of about 200 ventilators supplied to the government. Similarly, on the right, what you see are makeshift hospitals. These hospitals can be made in something like 5 days flat. A 100-bed hospital can be made in 5 days by CDRI Roorkee or by SCRC Chennai. We made a prototype at Ghaziabad, but very recently we have finished an order of 6 such hospitals through Himachal Pradesh in 6 remote locations. So the question is, how do we actually now deal with infectious diseases in the future? We have learned a great deal about infectious diseases in the last about 50 years. We have learned that this is not the last of the infectious diseases what we are going to see. We have learned that if new infectious disease emerges, how are we actually going to find these diagnostics, possibly vaccine, and even more difficult, challenging, but yet whether we can do the new drugs or something. All of it actually have gone into a great learning curve, and we must not forget this learning for dealing with future diseases. One thing that we have learned is that we live in one world, we live in an ecosystem. There are different animals, there are different plants. We know that diseases jump from one species to another, and we must therefore learn to live very harmoniously with our nature. It has led to the concept of One Health, and One Health is an idea that the health of people is connected to the health of our surroundings, animals, and the shared environment. And we must learn these ways. And therefore, if we want to protect ourselves, we must protect everyone else also. How do diseases really jump from animal to animal? And this captured in a very nice review in Nature Reviews Genetics some time ago. It actually tells you that if there is a virus, it infects one particular species. It binds to the host receptor on that particular species. What I've shown here are species 1, species 2, species 3, and so on and so forth on the left-hand side. All that the virus does is mutate a little bit so that the same receptor on another species can bind to the virus. Or multiple mutations that happen, it can actually start invading multiple organisms. This phenomenon can be detected by doing multiple sequences of the virus. And what I've shown you here in gray are the negative selection mutants, and in the box are the positive selection mutants, and so on and so forth. So viruses do indeed mutate just like random mutations. The mutations can be neutral, they can be negative selection, but they can also be positive selection. That is when viruses are trying to adapt themselves to different hosts. And this we have learned a great deal in the last about 20-30 years. How do these mutations occur and how viruses adapt to different hosts. If this is true for a virus, it is also true for bacteria, it is also true for parasites, it is also true for fungi. first thing that I want to comment upon is that to deal with diseases, we must also learn about ourselves. Our own immune system, we understand very little about it. And COVID-19 has highlighted particular fact, particularly well. Some people who hyperreact to the virus, and some people who do not react at all to the virus. Some people who die of the virus, some people are asymptomatic with the end. What is happening? We don't understand what really is happening. And that's where actually I have proposed this particular hypothesis that the people are dying. My own hypothesis that has been published in Current Science on 10th February, that people who are dying are not dying because of the virus, but they are dying because human body is hyper-reacting to the virus. The viral load in the infected people starts coming down by about 10th or 12th day. But that's the time when human immune system has taken over and is reacting to the virus. And if this immune reaction is hyperimmune reaction, that's when you actually get cytokine storms and you get pneumonia symptoms, and unfortunately, many people die of this particular one. What you essentially see are symptoms of autoimmune disorder. And what we have proposed hypothesis is that in the high human development index countries, because they have gotten rid of infectious diseases, because of the improved sanitation condition, most of these people have had higher prevalence of lifestyle diseases and higher prevalence of autoimmune diseases. In the countries where there is low hygiene or poorer hygiene, people actually do not react or hyper-react to those conditions, because in those countries people see the pathogens all the time, and the immune system is geared to respond to any new pathogen that comes into the body. And therefore there is no hyperimmune reaction. And all this falls in place when we do a distribution of how many people are dying per million in different countries. And it becomes apparent therefore that people in rich countries are dying because of these different parameters that we have talked in our paper. I don't have the time to go into that, but some other time we will. But that highlights the issue of the reaction to our own immune system. And our own immune system is shaped by many, many different kinds of parameters which we do not understand fully as of now yet. One such parameter is the bacteria that live in our gut. The microbiota that we harbor in our gut is one such parameter that actually primes our immune system for any new pathogen that come in. The bacteria that live in our gut secrete antimicrobial peptides. If there is a new pathogen which is trying to establish infection in our gut, these AMPs go and inhibit the new bacteria, the pathogenic bacteria. On the other hand, if a person is on antibiotics or in a fat diet, in that particular person, the microbiota of the gut is disturbed, there is a dysbiosis of the microbiota in the gut, and therefore the immune system is not sufficiently primed or responding to new pathogens. And this particular issue is going to be, in my opinion, going to be more and more important in the coming year. We must pay very attention to our body as a whole, our own immune system, and the different species that live on our body, and together, with the understanding of all of this, only then we can conquer the future pandemics or the future infectious diseases. Let's all work towards that particular world where we understand ourselves better. Let us all work towards that particular goal where we understand our surroundings, and let us all work towards that goal where humanity is free of sufferings such as infectious diseases. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mande, for highlighting the challenges and the lacuna in the field of infectious diseases. And you have aptly pointed out the areas which needs further exploration, and definitely the CSIR researchers across different labs, we would be aligning our strengths and exploring these areas which can help us to be better prepared for future emerging as well as re-emerging infections. And with this, we would like to conclude the session, but as a ceremony, we usually have a very nice felicitation program, and it would be very difficult to perform a felicitation program online. So, so I request our director, whenever he's going visiting Delhi, he should carry the token of appreciation from Lucknow to be presented to you. And now I would like to request Amir to come over and deliver the vote of thanks.
The Melanby oration this year was an absolute scientific feast. Thank you, Professor Mande, for that. It was extremely interesting for each one of us. Round of applause for Dr. Mande, please. Well, the 70th annual day is a very special day for CDRI, and to celebrate this with us, having all these dignitaries, this made it even more special for us. And first up, we would like to thank Honorable Minister Sir, Dr. Harshvardhan, who joined us for this event and accommodated our event in his busy schedule. Our Honorable Director General Sir, Dr. Shekhar Mande, who delivered today's Sir Edward Melanby Memorial Oration and was a guest of honor for our annual day function. Thanks to you, sir, for accommodating our function and for being with us online on this special day. Thanks to Professor Sandeep Verma, Honorable Secretary SERB, who was a guest of honor for the function and shared his valuable thoughts with us. We'd like to thank fellow directors from CSIR Labs, Dr. S.K. Barik, Director CSIR, NBRI, and IITR, and Dr. Prabodh Trivedi, Director of CSIR CMAP Lucknow, for coming here in person and spending this afternoon with us. So it's really so nice of you to be with us on this special day. Our big thank you to our mentors, our gurus, Dr. Nityanand and Dr. Kamboj, who took out their time and are here with us today. We know that Dr. Kamboj has not been going out for almost a year, so today he came out for this special day only, so thank you, sir. And for Dr. Nityanand, I mean, this day is even more special for us because this year we celebrated his 96th birthday, and having the 70th year celebration of CSIR-CDRI during his 96th year is really special for us, and he being here with us is extremely encouraging for all of us. So thank you all. The program that we have had today, this started 5 months ago as we had a long list of events that we actually conducted for the celebration of our 70th year. We had multiple talks organized online. So the COVID pandemic did not actually dampen our spirits. We kept our celebrations going, and the continued learning that we got through those lectures that we organized online was very precious for each one of us. So I thank the entire organizing committee that was involved in these functions for conducting these functions and the events for us. So our organizing committee had Dr. Sanjay Batra, Dr. Anand Kulkarni, Engineer Kural, Dr. Ritu Trivedi, Dr. Ravi Ampapati, Dr. P.R. Mishra, Dr. Rath, and Dr. Ravi Shankar as coordinators of subcommittees. I thank them all. And we have also released some of the books today, and the souvenir and coffee table book that was released today, that was designed and published by Dr. Amit Lahiri, Dr. Smriti Badoria, Mr. Ravindra Londhe, and Mr. Kazim Raza. So thanks to them. And this online event would not have been possible without the support of our IT team, Mr. Santosh Shukla and Engineer Kural, and Mr. Arvind Kumar of the auditorium. So a big thank you to Dr. Anand Kulkarni also, who is always a solid support for each of our functions. And last but not the least, captain of the ship, Professor Tapas Kundu, who is always there as a solid support system. You go there to his office anytime with any request, so we need this for organizing of the function. He wouldn't take more than 10 seconds in deciding and giving you the approval. So big thank you to you, sir. Without all your support, this would not have been possible. And in fact, all of these souvenir, the coffee table book that we published was his idea. And you will see when this comes to your hands, you will see what it means, because it carries the history, 70-year history of our institute. And going through that, going through all of those pages is actually extremely encouraging, and I'm sure you all would love that. So for being here this afternoon, thanks to each one of you in the audience, and thanks to everyone involved in all of the functions and all of the events that we organized during this 70th year celebration. Thank you, everybody, and thanks to our guests, Professor Mande and Professor Sandeep Verma once again. We really value your time that you spent with us this afternoon. Thank you so much. With this, may I request all of you to rise for the national anthem as we conclude this program. Thank you.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
And we conclude this function and we'll go offline now. Thank you.